Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream repair. It's been a few days since we've last had one. Well, actually, we totally forgot to buy some more diodes, so we ran out and we had to put repairs on pause for a few days. So in that time, we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in to get fixed up, and our diodes have arrived, so we'll put those away and we'll get started. Okay. Ready to go. Who is up first? We've got a Mike from Florida, or actually Michael. Let's pull up their email, see what we're dealing with, let them know that we're getting theirs fixed up first. And while I'm thinking about it, let's inform the Discord server, discord.gg/track44. Come on. Okay. Discord notified. Let's find Michael here. First gen HomePod that no longer powers on. Okay, so we're kicking things off with what appears to be an easy, straightforward repair. Let's get this opened up. I need my knife. Alright, issue no power, likely a diode. Nice, nice. Alright, power cable already removed for us. Let's power this up. Well, plug it into power with a known good power cable connected to our kilowatt meter here over on the right, and see what we're dealing with. Alright, no power, no response, no lights, no signs of life, no nothing. And yeah, we're pulling 6 watts of power from the wall. So this appears indeed to be another case of a bad diode on there inside the HomePod on the amplifier board. Let's take it apart and find out if that's the case. Oh, hello Mike, welcome to the stream, welcome back. Nice, good. Glad to hear. Once you get that gear, those boards will be perfect for, well, so I gave you 2 boards, right? The first one has absolutely no chance of working, and I wouldn't trust any of the parts on it. So it's pretty good for practice and getting a handle of, doing HomePod repairs and just micro soldering. And then the other one in better condition that has more of the parts on it, more complete, that I gave you, that one, all that's actually wrong with it appears to be that amp chip on the back. However, replacing that chip is quite tricky. So the board itself has plenty of other good parts, so I imagine if you want to pick up a couple of other broken HomePods to try fixing up for yourself, that amplifier board will be really handy to have if you need any other parts. Or if anything, it's just fun to build boards and deconstruct them, kind of like Legos. Like most of these parts here, and these, and some of this are just parts that I pulled off amp boards for fun, just to get practice, just for fun, and not necessarily to collect the parts. I kept the parts because no real sense throwing them away, but definitely let me know how it goes when you dive into that. Oh man, the diode is small. Be careful with that little teeny tiny capacitor to the left of it. You thought the diode was small. Oh boy. And then you've got, you thought that little part next to the diode was small? Wait till you see the teeny tiny little resistor right here. There's 2 of them actually. And then, just all around the rest of the board, it's insane how small some of these parts are. And if you've ever seen the inside of an iPhone, especially the newer ones, those are even more just mind-boggling. What they can fit, how much they can fit, and how small they can get it onto a single board, or just like a bunch of them. Like a stack. Do you use anything or magnification while swapping out diodes? No. As of right now, I still do all of my repairs with just my naked eye. Sometimes I've got the stream up on a 27-inch monitor right here. Sometimes I'll look at that just as like a cross reference, but I'm primarily looking directly at what I'm working on. That's, at least for now, mostly thanks to my, I've got good eyesight. I got good eyes. I've never needed glasses, and I'm actually the only person in my family that doesn't need glasses, which is strange. Both my parents, all of my grandparents needed glasses. Both of my sisters needed glasses. And I'm sitting here with, like, what, 20/30 vision? Which is basically... So you've got 20/20 vision, which I'm pretty sure this might be incorrect. Fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure 20/20 vision meant something like seeing something from 20 feet away. And then 20/30 vision meant that I could see the same thing but from 30 feet away without a problem. Or maybe the numbers mean left versus right. Right eye. I don't know. Doctors kept telling me my eyesight was better than average, and I never needed glasses. And they're still good now. I definitely need to get my hands on a good microscope, though, because regardless of how good your eyesight is, a good microscope or magnifying glass or something to magnify what you're looking at to work on is going to make it a lot easier. And it's just downright impossible to check your work with some things with your naked eye, especially when you're trying to work on QFN chips and lining them up right, and there's absolutely no visibility without being able to zoom in enough and see if all of those pads underneath are connected or not. Yeah, I'll have to double check what 20/20 actually means. It might not even mean anything. It might even just be one of those, like, dumb non-standards like the expiration date on your food. Because it's, I believe eyesight is a little more complicated than boiling it down to, boiling down how good each of your eyes is to a set of, or a fraction, right? Like, I think there's more to it than that, I feel like. Alright, power supply is out, and of course we're skipping right past that because we know for a fact, well, with almost certainty, 100% certainty, that our issue is on our amplifier board here with our Schottky diode being shorted out, and preventing flow from going through the rest of the amp before it makes its way up the ribbon cable and to your logic board and display. So yeah, even though the problem is with the amplifier board, it does ultimately affect the rest of the components further down the chain, and causes this issue where it appears like it's just not powering on at all anymore. And we are almost certain it's that diode and not like a blown fuse on the amplifier, with around 3 to 6 watts of power draw like we saw there especially. It can't be a blown fuse because then power wouldn't be flowing through to complete the circuit, thus no power draw. So we wouldn't see any power draw on our meter with a blown fuse. And then, less common, but still common enough worth mentioning, the second most common cause of no power will be shorts on the logic board. But those tend to only pull around 1 watt of power because of where the short is and how far down that chain of components that part failure is. Not to mention it's a tiny little capacitor that's usually failed on the logic board, so it can only pull so much. It can only pull so much power, versus this Schottky diode that I'm pretty sure has a lot to do with just the general power delivery to the amplifier and perhaps, of course, the rest of the HomePod here. I could be mistaken. There's a lot of guesses here without schematics for any of these components. Okay, here we go. Let's get up close. I bet you that, yep, there you go. 1748K for our date code on that diode. If it's not that, it's 1746K that's always failing. All the other ones are still kicking just fine. Let's see if this one is our problem. Yes, it is. You know what's next. Oh yeah, you got this cap here, and then you got even smaller ones up above it right here. That TPS 54560 is looking pretty darn good, if you ask me. Alright, that looks ready to go, so we're just going to push it straight down and off the board so we avoid knocking that cap off or any of this stuff up here or any of that or this. Just push it straight down as you can. Once we've got that off, if you're doing this yourself, I would always suggest verifying that the short is on the diode and that the short isn't still on the board. Every single time, with our repairs at least, it's always been with the diode. However, for some reason, we've had a handful of others send theirs in after they've attempted their own repairs, or just people emailing us letting us know, hey, I was trying this repair myself and it wasn't just the diode, there's still the short on my board. Seems to be usually, honestly, people kind of goofing up their repairs. But on rare occasion we've seen that step-down converter over here failing. Again, nothing that we've had sent in ourselves other than boards that other people have attempted to repair, and we don't know if those issues were caused by them in their repair attempt, or if that's what happened to it naturally. Ooh! You get back here. Boy, am I glad I've moved over here with this mat on the ground. I would never have found that in the carpet, and I wouldn't really have even bothered using it. The carpet is so full of cat hair. I would have just left it in the carpet and gotten another one. Easy peasy. So, if that's all this needs, then very good, very good. We are going to start by throwing this back into the shell and putting a few screws and parts into it, enough to power everything up really quick for a brief test, and then we'll button it the rest of the way up and move on to another repair. So if you're doing the same thing at home and you don't have the spare parts to test everything bare naked on the bench like we've typically done on past streams, but you still want to just test the parts as efficiently as possible without having to take too much apart again, here's what you can do. Put one screw into the amp, anywhere like on this half. So we're going to put one over here under this inductor. And then the two that really matter are this one and this one. And that's because when we go to put the power supply in, these two screws on the amp are going to get covered up by the power supply when it plugs into the socket here. All the rest of the screws can still be accessible with the power supply installed. So the most efficient way to test this, if you're on your way towards putting it back together after your repairs, but you just want to check and see if it's fixed, pop those two screws in over there, one over here. Pop your power supply in, connect your cables, of course, and then you can check and see if it powers up. If it doesn't power up, or it powers up but it's got too much DC offset, then you've only got a couple of screws to take out and you can take the board back out and continue doing more repairs. But if it works just fine, and you've got a significant part of it already done for you, you can start putting the rest of your screws in and carry on your way. So yep, we're just gonna plug in that power supply to the board and then to that cable there. We've got our ribbon cable connected to the amp. We're gonna connect our subwoofer to the amplifier so we can hear if our bass is working, along with checking for a DC offset like I was saying. Connect a logic board and display. Last but not least, let's get a power cable and see if this, you shut up. See if this works. And there you go. Power. Give me the bass. Give me the bass. Yes. Oh, where's our multimeter software? We need our multimeter up on the screen here. Alright, so we've got 10 millivolts, which is an excellent result. Anything less than 50 is a passing score. Anything more than 50 warrants replacing our filters. Anything more than 200 millivolts can definitely cause damage. Anything more than a few volts, of course, is going to start triggering death farts. This one, however, appears to be excellent, so we're not going to risk making anything worse by just replacing the filters that are working just fine on here. Let's finish putting this back together. Any news about HomePod's bricking issue will be on my website under the Common Issues section. It's literally the first issue under the Common Issues section for the blinking volume buttons issue. The bounty is still out, there's still no fix for it, and whoever fixes it and finds a way to reproduce it for us and others gets a free HomePod from us. So, but still no news. Any news will be posted on the website. Sad to say. What's even more frustrating is the fact that the second gen HomePod is built essentially the exact same way with the exact same problems as the first gen. So not only do we not have a fix for the first one, but now we've got a new product out there doing the exact same thing. I mean, yep, and yeah, everything else on this HomePod looks great. No other issues visually on the amplifier board. No issues with DC offset. No issues on the power supply. Subwoofer's looking nice and healthy. Doesn't look like it's been beaten up. Or overheated. You can tell if it's been overheated with an uneven, like the center of this dust cover here will look a little darker than the rest of it. You can kind of see it on this one. It's got like a dark spot in the middle from it overheating. Okay. The fact that they not only have the system, but the fact that you can plug in your HomePod Mini and click the restore button if it bricks itself, but you can't do that on the first gen. So we know Audio OS is physically possible of restoring itself. Frustrating to the max, man. I just want to restore the software on the products that I own, for God's sake. And like, it doesn't matter if they don't think the average person would be willing to go through the effort of ripping the rubber foot off of the bottom of their HomePod and 3D printing their own USB. If it becomes possible, if we are given the grace by Apple, the permission to restore the software on these, then we will find somebody that can manufacture dongles for us, so that way the average Joe can buy a dongle, put their HomePod on top of it, and restore it by just plugging it into their computer. But like Chris said there in the chat, Apple Configurator, Finder, iTunes, hell, even my Windows PC sees that a HomePod is connected when you solder the USB connection to the bottom of the HomePod and plug it in. It sees something. It gives you a restore button that you can click. But then you click that restore button, and it has to ask Apple, "Hey Apple, can I have that software, so that operating system, so that way I can restore myself to sanity?" And Apple's like, nah. You can do that with our Macs. You can do that with our watches. You can do that with our phones. You can do that with your pads. But you shall not do that with our pods. You can do that with our minis, but you cannot do that with our big pods. You shall not. Is the jailbreak is jailbreaking like even still a thing? Like is it has there been a jailbreak for any iPhone newer than the iPhone 12 on an iOS newer than 15? Because I used to be into jailbreaking, really big into jailbreaking. Started all the way in high school with my second and third gen iPod Touch. Way back in the day when you paid Apple for an iOS update. Insane, right? And back then the jailbreak community was absolutely thriving. But it feels like, and this could be just like a really, I don't know, this could be like, I could be getting old kind of thing. But it almost seems to me like the jailbreak community, because technology has been getting more and more accessible, especially to younger people, you're starting to get a lot of, younger people coming in and demanding these things from all of these jailbreak devs for free. They're basically expecting to be given a free jailbreak every time a new version of iOS comes out or a new phone comes out, and people become so impatient, and it's such a toxic environment. And it just, to me, it seemed like the frequency of jailbreaks slowed down and the impatience and toxicity increased over time, and I just kind of fell out of it. And between that and honestly the majority of features that most people used to jailbreak for being baked into the phones now, not being much of a reason to jailbreak anymore other than principle and maybe a few edge cases or honestly, not to downplay, but a few significantly, like, very useful tweaks. But at the end of the day, most people, it's just not what it used to be or what it needs to be anymore. So between that and then the already niche that is the HomePod, I don't know. I won't say it would never happen. I wouldn't say it could never happen, but I feel pretty pessimistic about it. There was actually a jailbreak dev that reached out to me that seemed interested at first in working with me to find a solution for this. Unfortunately, they realized that I wasn't some big business looking to make a bunch of money and partner with them and make them a bunch of money on this. Another problem with the jailbreak community is, it's not entirely the community's fault for being so needy and expecting a bunch of things for free, but also jailbreak devs themselves got so greedy too. Good grief. And app devs in general. Like, for some things I kind of get it, but other things I don't get. $60 a year subscriptions in like $20-$40 apps, or like multi-$100 lifetime subscriptions for it blows my mind. Anyways, I'm starting to lose track of where I was going with that. Jailbreak, right? It just seems highly unlikely. But that guy reached out to me, and as soon as he realized there wasn't a potential to make a bunch of money in this, he went pretty silent, unfortunately. A pretty big name in the community, but there could be a bunch of things. There could be anything going on right now. Like, there could be a number of reasons why they haven't really gotten back to me, so I'm not gonna say who it was yet until I know for sure, like until I've got good judgment as to and certainty as to what the heck they're doing. I had my hopes up really high at first when they first reached out to me, and then it just kind of fell apart. Well, anyways, let's get the top of this back on and see if we've got it working again with it all in one piece. Oh yeah, I love grabbing an old one of my old iPhones or iPods and just and giving it a good jailbreak. Yeah. But I kept my iPhone 11 on iOS 14.3, so it's still jailbreakable. I kept my iPhone 6 on iOS 11, which is still jailbreakable. And every other iPhone or iPad that anybody's given to me, I've kept on the OS that they gave it to me on and jailbroken it. But aside from that, between since my iPhone 12 and then my 13, there haven't been any jailbreaks available for these devices or OSs, so I haven't been able to really play with it recently. Hey, we've got power. Well, what's crazy is I was willing to send them a bricked HomePod. I was willing to fully pay for shipping and send them a bricked HomePod and anything they needed in order to figure it out. And they seemed perfectly willing and capable of doing it until they realized there wasn't any money and there wasn't a significant amount of money involved. At least, that's basically what they told me at first before going silent. So that's really what I'm left to believe, at least still for now, is this guy doesn't have I can't make a bunch of money from this, so why bother wasting any more time? I've still got kind of mixed signals because at the same time, he recently accepted my friend request on Discord, so I don't know. But that's been a few weeks, and honestly, I'm socially awkward, and the problem might be that he's just as socially awkward as I am, and we're both just kind of in this perpetual waiting for someone to say something thing. I don't know. Well, anyways, what we do know is Mike's HomePod appears to be fully functional again. So let's pick another one from the pile. Alright, our next one comes from Jeremy. Ooh, a local. Washington. Let's find their email and let them know it's getting worked on. Oh my god, I never emailed Mike either. Okay, let's find Jeremy. Here we go, broken HomePod that no longer works. It had the death farts for a few months, and now it no longer powers on. Oh boy. Okay, so we've got a doozy. It's got death farts. Okay, so here's the thing. They say it's got death farts, but honestly, it might just have a normal amount of quiet popping as it goes in and out of standby and the amp turns on and off. If we do see a DC offset greater than 50 millivolts, then we'll go ahead and replace those filters. But if we don't see more than 50 millivolts of offset and everything else checks out and we don't see any reason why there would be any death farts, then we'll do the regular no power repair, of course, check for DC offset. If that looks fine, we'll put it all the way back together, and then we'll want to reset it and test it overnight to make sure that it doesn't have something else that they may be confusing with death farts. This is why I put sound samples up on the website, so that way people could compare and confirm if they've got, in fact, death farts or loud popping or just a normal quiet popping that doesn't warrant any repair nor can really be fixed. I mean, the second gen HomePods even do it. Brand new parts and everything, they'll do it. Fresh out of the box, they do it. Second gens do it. Refurbs do it. They're all gonna do it. You can't avoid it. Oh yeah, let's let Jeremy know that we're fixing their HomePod up. Right. Emailed. And let's get their name up on the screen. There we go. In the box, we've got one HomePod. Excellent. I absolutely love when people unplug the power cable, because that means that I don't have to plug it back in when I pack it. It makes everything a lot easier. Okay, first things first, let's check our symptoms here with a known good power cable connected to our kilowatt meter over there. No power. No response, no nothing, yet 4 watts of power draw from the wall. So it appears to be another case of a dead diode on the amplifier. Let's open it up and find out. Ooh, dusty. Woo! It's probably been a minute since you've fired up, huh? Nice. Ooh, very nice. It's rare to have that display come up without any of this adhesive with it. All right. Woofer checks out. No issues there. Here we go again. Up close. Another 1748K diode that has failed on us. Let's double check that. Yes, indeed. That's a dead diode. There we go. Oh, 2309K. These are brand spanking new. Oh boy. Diodes made in the year 2023. Week 9 at that. That's the newest diode we've had yet. What does the beeping represent on the multimeter? Lack of current going from one side to the other? Quite the opposite. 100% of the current passing from one side to the other with no resistance. That's called a short, and that's what we do not want to see going through a Schottky barrier diode. What we want to see going through a Schottky barrier diode is, I believe, around 200 ohms of resistance. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, a good Schottky diode will not have a short going through it, and a bad blown Schottky diode will have a short going through it. That is, by design, how they fail. Okay, so because we may be dealing with DC offset here, we're going to go ahead and use our test parts and check this bear on the bench here to see if it powers up and if it's got DC offset that's causing any death farts. If it doesn't, then we'll go ahead and start putting this back together so we can reset it and test it overnight. If we do see DC offset, then we'll know that they said they had death farts before it stopped powering on, so we'll get those filters replaced, and that'll take care of two different issues for them. And we've got power. Yeah, the diode is I believe it's protection. It's not necessarily power delivery. I believe it's more protection. Oh boy. Okay, so we've got power. We powered up without a problem. We've got good base, but our offset over there is pretty gnarly. So we're significantly above that 50 millivolts that we were talking about earlier. We are actually past the 200 millivolt territory, and this is definitely enough to cause damage, even though surprisingly we haven't seen any yet. So subwoofer is still in good condition, but that in addition to the fact that that offset continued to get larger as this warmed up to operating temperature, that is certainly going to cause, that's going to definitely lead to death farts. So let's get those filters replaced and see if we can get that under control. And then we will retest it. And then same thing, we'll still factory reset it and test it overnight just to make sure that it is good to go and it won't fart on them again, or there isn't some other issue that they may have been confused with. But we definitely have some bad filters here irregardless. So those can definitely cause, well, honestly, actually, as far as we know still, this is the only part that can fail and cause those death farts, because the death farts itself is a behavior programmed into the amplifier when it detects too much DC voltage on our meter there coming into the subwoofer. It's gonna death fart and restart on you just to kind of let the user know, like, hey, there's a problem here. You got too much DC voltage. I gotta restart now. Looking good. Okay. We're gonna cool this off for a sec because we don't want these to be too hot when we go to test it. Okay, I'll finish this one up. And we can do dinner. Okay, what do we got now? Hey, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. Less than 50 millivolts and holding relatively steady, so no chances of death farts anymore. This is good to go. Okay. Alright, what's it got, Stuntman? Power.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Be those volume buttons. Nice. Alright. Well, Jeremy's is fixed both with no power and death farts or DC offset. That's all that we're going to get to here and now during this stream. We're going to go eat and take care of the kid for a little bit and see if we'll be back either later tonight or tomorrow to fix up a few more. If you guys are looking for more info on doing your own HomePod repairs like the common issues we do here or mailing yours in to be fixed up here on the channel, check out the website nixfix.com. In any case, I hope you all enjoy.